The call came at 4:12 a.m. My brother's voice. Panicked, rushed. "He's not breathing. Dad, he choked him. He's not—" My throat sealed itself shut. The air around me collapsed. I didn't shout, I didn't scream. I just listened. Listened as my brother's frantic words spiraled into static. When I finally spoke, my voice was flat, steady. "Is he alive?" Silence. Then a strangled, "Barely." My hands didn't shake as I ended the call. My mind didn't splinter. Some people break when the unthinkable happens. I didn't. I sharpened. It had begun a month after my wife's funeral. Her absence still clawed at me. Her voice, her scent, her touch, all swallowed by the iron maw of that train. And as I drowned, my father came knocking. Not with condolences, not with comfort, but with greed. "I want the apartment," he said. His tone was casual, like asking for sugar over coffee. "Give it to your brother. He deserves it." Deserves. A $260,000 apartment my wife and I had built together. A home, not a prize. I told him no. Not angrily, not with bitterness, just no. And my father's lips curled into something thin, sharp. "You'll regret this." I thought it was a bluff, a threat made in the echo chamber of his arrogance. I didn't realize it was a promise. I withdrew from him, ignored the messages, the veiled threats, the sudden calls from family members urging me to keep the peace. But peace isn't bought with surrender. I focused on my son, 11 years old. The last piece of my wife I still had. His laughter softened the corners of the apartment. His questions pulled me from the quiet abyss. I guarded him like oxygen. But I couldn't be everywhere. The day I was called out of town, my father knew. Of course he did. He moved quickly, slipped into the apartment under the pretense of a family visit. When I pieced the timeline together later, it was almost mechanical. My brother distracted my son. My father cornered him, tried to extract the keys, the deeds, the compliance. When the child didn't understand, when he resisted, my father's patience fractured. The bruises bloomed across my son's throat. The boy fought. My brother intervened. And my father fled. A man of punishment, even if it meant breaking a child. I returned that night, the weight of my son in my arms. His pulse weak but steady. The hospital lights were too bright, too sterile to hold the jaggedness inside me. I told him nothing. No promises, no apologies. I simply stayed. When he finally slept, I slipped away. I traced the calls, reviewed the security cameras from the building. My father's face, my brother's hesitation. The betrayal caught in high definition. I confronted my brother first. I expected fear. I expected guilt. Instead, I found collapse. His hands trembled as he shoved a folder into mine. Inside, documents I hadn't known existed. My father's paper trail. His desperate financial hemorrhaging. His crumbling debts hidden behind fake companies, forged investments. He hadn't wanted the apartment for sentiment. He'd wanted collateral, a life raft to cling to as his empire cracked beneath him. "You were just next on his list," my brother whispered, his eyes hollow. I didn't know he'd go that far. I believed him, not because he deserved it, but because it didn't matter anymore. I didn't go to the police. Justice bought in court would have been too clean. I went to his office, midday, bright, public. I handed him the folder. He skimmed it. His confidence wavered, crumbled. "You think this scares me?" I smiled faintly. "No, I think this buries you." His eyes narrowed. "You wouldn't!" I already did. His bank accounts, his shell corporations, his quiet, desperate loans, all exposed. The reports had been delivered to the regulatory boards that morning. The media would follow by noon. The criminal investigations by nightfall. There was no panic in his face, only something worse. Realization. "You won't survive this," he spat. I shrugged. "I don't need to." He reached for control, but his fingers closed around air, the same way he once closed them around my son's throat. I left him there, surrounded by glass and steel and the empire he'd built on broken sons. Some people believe family is sacred, that blood demands loyalty. But blood is just a stain. It can be washed away. I didn't do it for revenge. Not really. I did it so my son would never have to flinch at the sound of that man's name. I did it so silence would finally take the space my father used to fill. When the news broke, when the walls collapsed around him, I didn't watch. I had other things to protect. My son healed. Slowly, but his smile returned. And I didn't smile at all. I didn't need to. Some victories don't wear parades. They just leave the monsters gasping for breath alone.